Dr. Albert Bussey, and he will lead us in our pledge. Please stand.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the opportunity to be here tonight, carry out this order of business for the city of Waycross. We ask you to bless us in our endeavors. Look on our city, state, and our country. Look on these dear people that are here. And we thank you for wisdom to carry out this order of business. And we ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now have our roll call. We have Ms. Felicia Brown,
Here.
Ms. Lorene Regulus,
Here.
Ms. Sean Taylor,
Here.
Dr. Albert Bussey,
Present.
Mr. Martin Gray.
I am here.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Now we need a motion for the approval of the agenda and minutes. And we all should have a copy of the minutes in our paper.
I motion that the minutes be approved as printed.
I'll second. Thank you. All in favor, by the sign of aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to call Mr. Rayford.
Mr. Rayford, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Rayford.
Thank you, Mr. Rayford, for appearing before us today. We have a few questions that we would like to ask, and I'm going to start. First of all, we did send you some questions beforehand, and I thank you for your responses. I have just a few additional questions. Are the commissioners allowed to attend partisan meetings, conferences, or events at the city's expense?
They're not supposed to.
Okay, and as far as you are aware, do you know if Commissioner Felder was aware of that rule?
I'm going to assume because we all took ethics training and that's
Mhm.
part of the class.
Okay, all right, and the commission is provided a finance report prior to every commission meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, and that report shows expenditures by the mayor and the commissioners.
Correct.
Okay, all right, and one other thing, you stated in one of your answers that there was a briefing that addressed vouchers and authorized and unauthorized reimbursements. Did Commissioner Felder attend that, or do you know?
It was during one of our working sessions the finance
Mhm.
director gave. I'm pretty sure everybody was there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, those are my questions. Do any of you have questions for him?
I'm not seeing the answers. Those questions, were those part that you sent to him? I don't think I got a
These
copy
are
of it.
different
These are
questions.
different questions. Okay, you talked about the briefing.
Yeah, that was part of his answer to one of your questions.
Okay, I
Man.
didn't see it.
Yes, ma'am.
I think for the audience, it might be good for them to understand what questions we've asked, you think?
Mhm, that's fine.
Okay, okay, so, not necessarily for you to go through everything again, you had some good answers.
Okay.
But just to bring our audience up to date.
Okay.
Dave,
well, let-
pardon me?
Oh, my fault. Go ahead, Amy.
No, I sent about 7 questions, and my first question was, are there requirements for commissioners to attend specific trainings after they are sworn in, and if so, to provide a list of those trainings?
Yes. And I sent y'all the link to that training. It is specific training for all new commissioners. They have to do in the first year of their candidacy.
Okay,
So-
and when I went to the link, unfortunately, my phone wouldn't download it. I was
Oh,
wondering,
okay.
and then the computer wouldn't download it, but that's not necessarily, eventually I'll get it
Okay.
downloaded.
Okay.
Okay, and then I wanted to know if you could outline the process step by step in requesting attendance to training outside of Waycross over and above any required training, not training that they were asked to, and who is the approving authority for these trainings?
Okay. So the process is the same for all training. That's, I'm gonna put this up front for all individuals in the organization, not just the commissioners. We all go through the same steps. My head admin administrator, she helps out with that part as far as if it's outside the organization, she kind of verifies what that training is. And it's the same step as with GMA. The problem is not like I said on this, there's no approval, like me saying you can't go or you can go. And that's something I need to figure out moving forward. Of course, there will be a conflict with me trying to tell the commission what it can do and what it can't do. But I do want to say I recognize that it is a slippery slope of some capacity. I just try to refer at the time when this came up with the then city attorney, and then we did call GMA and kind of gave them the feedback.
Okay, when
Yeah.
you said this came up,
Mhm.
can you help me understand what? you-
So initially, like I said, my administrative assistant, she does the training for the commission and myself, as far as, getting the hotel schedule, all that stuff, verifying the training, the hours, if there are meals included, all those things, the per diem. And she does all that for us. But when they get back, well, actually, when anybody gets back, they're supposed to bring their receipts. And we actually got I brought y'all a copy. I don't know if y'all got the copy of this, but did y'all see the travel voucher?
I saw it in
Okay.
some papers.
Yeah, you're supposed to bring that back, and it states here per diem if it's Atlanta $74 per 3 meals, Marietta $64, Savannah $69. Your mileage rates, actual miles, what got paid on the credit card, cab, lodging, all those things. And what was happening, we weren't filling those out, and that was across the board. It wasn't just commissions. People just bringing it back, and they were turning into finance. And that was another burden on finance. So what we did, we brought this in, put it on the screen there, and then the finance director kind of briefed everybody, you need to fill this out. This makes it easy on the finance department. So that was the main purpose of that instruction, was please start doing this, because for accountability purpose, first of all, but also make the life easier on our admin personnel and definitely the finance department. Because I did find out they'll have to go back and ask for, certain receipts, certain stuff wasn't eligible or readable. So that was the main, when I say back then, that was what I was trying to fix when I first got here.
And when you said back then,
Mhm.
could you're talking about around the time of the alleged complaint? Or,
I had been maybe 90 days. It was when I first came, so I got here in February 2023, so around that time frame.
okay.
Yeah.
Because that form that you spoke of, the travel voucher,
Mhm.
I did have a question about that.
Yes, ma'am.
We received a copy of those, and some information we received.
Mhm.
And I noticed that on the back of the form, it does talk about the per diem.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
out of the 8 or 10, somewhere between 8 and 10 copies of that we received, only 2 of them had signatures on it. And then none of them were filled out for per diem. So my question is there a per diem for the commissioners? Is it, because that information is being omitted on all your forms?
Yes. Yeah. The per diem applies to everybody, and that's I go by the charter. That's in the charter, and this includes the
Do
commission.
you know where it is? in the
Um,
charter?
Well, if you,
I'm having trouble finding, I've got to go to the
Um,
charter, find some things one day, the next day something else.
I want to say, I know the ordinance is like it's in 1818 maybe, one of those ordinances 1818. But when you go into the digital charter, you can just type in the travel, and that section will pop up, and to go over those requirements. Then you type, and then it's like a link to the ordinances, and then you go to the ordinances. And like I said, one of my responses, and I say I'm public, I probably failed to look at all the ordinances. We got a lot of ordinances out there, and had I looked back at this particular ordinance from, I think it's 2010, maybe I can't remember, 2010 or 18. Well, it's the resolution, but it outlines that everything applies to everybody as far as the rules. That's the main gist of it. And we try to go by the charter. Now there are supplement ordinances and resolutions that's with that, but I try to focus on the charter. And like I said in my response, that's probably something where I probably should have did a better job of going further, explaining it to everybody, what was the expectation. I just made the assumption upon arrival, everybody had been here 3 years already. So I just assumed at least those individuals knew what was going on. So, I recognize now we got to go back and make sure everybody fully understands the rules.
Okay, and my next question was, who reviews and approves expense
Mm.
reports for commissioners?
Yeah. So once again, I review it with the finance director, but approval is I don't know if that can be the appropriate word as far as approval, but we do review. Each of them have a budget, and ain't just it's travel, training on their parks, and they got a certain amount. They go, and we review it. I don't like to look at it every day, like every single day, but I do look at it probably monthly. I do rely on my finance department trying to catch that, not trying to put them underneath the bus.
So you're talking about the budget, not the report, the expense report. When you say you don't look at it every day, you're talking about the budget for the commissioners. Are you
Budget.
talking?
Okay, you talking about the travel, the training and travel budget?
Well, you said you review it here. I don't review it every day.
Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to understand what it is to make sure I'm on the same page.
Oh, I don't review every credit card purchase every day.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do that every day. And people always, it's somebody training right now that I haven't, I know they're gone, but I haven't looked at their purchases. I mean, so the code department goes to training, everybody goes to training. So I don't look at it every day. So
Okay. Then another question I had,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to read this too well because I
Okay.
think when I typed it up, I left out a lot of the information.
Mhm.
But just for the audience to be aware, it talks about resolution number R18-72, which
Yes,
the Attorney Spearman presented to us last meeting. And it states that that you were supposed to provide instructions, training, and assistance to cardholders, employees, and officers of the city.
Mhm.
And I asked for speed, please give specifics regarding the instruction and training indicated here.
Mhm.
And I think you kind of hit on it a little bit
Yeah,
already.
and once again, like I don't know every single resolution within the city. I go by the charter first. And once that was brought to my attention, I did, there's some stuff in there with the city man. I'm responsible for everything at the end of the day. So,
Excuse me.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I made the assumption that everybody who had been here already knew the rules already. Like I said, people have been here, for years already. I just made that assumption that everybody knew that was the policy. And our handbook says a little bit something different about how that works and how that's applied. So, not making an excuse. I read it now, and I'm going to go back and look at how that's done. And just probably just do it over for everybody again, because somehow for years that's not been, I guess, been enforced with what I'm hearing, and definitely at the levels above me. But I own that, so that was, like I said in my response, that was my fault. I should have kind of.
So are you saying that up until this time
Mhm.
that we're here now, that actually has not been enforced?
I can't be sure or
Mhm.
confirm. I'm making like everybody's been here. I've been here a year and 7 months.
Okay.
This month. Everybody before me been here quite some time, been traveling a lot, before me. Only thing when I came in, I was more concerned about, the actual processing part of this, because that's what I saw that we were messing up at, and we wasn't getting all the documents in the time, and it was putting a burden on my finance department because they're the ones ended up doing all this in the end. So, and like I said, in the charter, this resolution doesn't come up. The ordinance comes up first, attached to the charter reference about travel, training, and credit card use. So I was tried to follow the charter. So a little different, not the same thing. But once this resolution was brought to my attention, I have to go back and kind of revisit and see how that was worked. I guess the last however many years.
So was there anything in the charter
Mhm.
that caused you to go back and look at expense report and say, hey, we've got a problem here?
Anything in the charter for expenses?
Yeah, maybe I'm not following you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that you weren't aware of this resolution that I'm referencing here because it goes into specifics, very
Yes.
clear specifics
Mhm.
and guidelines that should be followed. But if you were not aware of that, are you saying that in the process of the past year and a half that you haven't seen, you haven't seen anything that caused you to address these things? It sounds like to me, and please explain if I'm listening to you, hearing you wrong.
Mhm.
It sounds like to me you're saying, I'm going to start.
Okay, understood. No, what I'm saying, when it first brought to my attention that we were not filling out our travel vouchers, on time and providing the receipts, and people were not following the per diem rates, I said, well, they must not know. That was my first assumption. But we'll just put it out again so everybody know how to fill these things out and what they can do, what they can't do for us traveling. Yes, I did not go into details at that time of who was going where or who was doing what, because I just wanted to get that blanket statement out there. You have to fill these forms out. You have to provide the receipts. There is a per diem rate. You can't buy extra meals. We did have a few things here and there about, buying a pen, on the way to travel versus on the way back from travel, doing travel. So I made sure we addressed that stuff when you could purchase the items for the training. So yes, I did. That kind of came to my attention. That was the first thing brought to my attention.
Okay.
Now this part, as far as the resolution, that was brought to my attention because of this. And like I said, that's not necessarily attached to the charter and the ordinance. So I didn't look at it. With that being said, there are a lot of processes here that we do not follow. I want to be transparent with everybody. I've been trying my best to get us, back, on the right ship about, first of all, following the charter as it's outlined right now. That's the most important document we have. And then, and then moving forward, anything we catch like we're doing now, just appropriate that into the charter, make sure it's in the charter, and then try to abide by it moving forward. If that's answers your question.
Okay, somewhat. For the ordinance.
Yes.
Number 5 was on this same resolution. Item 7 was titled Accounting and Auditing, and it stated that there should be a monthly review and audit of all government credit card transactions. And I think it said something about that should be done by the 7th of each month. I understand that you are saying you're just aware of that, became aware of that, but I'm doing this.
Oh, no. Okay.
The audience, just
Yeah.
so the audience know what questions we've asked here.
Oh, no. We we audit every month. Yes, we do that. That's what you're asking me.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm asking. It says around after the 7th, after completing the review, if there were employees or officers that were in any violations or there was any question about their travel, that there was supposed to be someone, either you or someone that you assigned, that would have a conversation with that person to discuss those transactions on the card. And I think my question was, has anyone from the accounting, I assume accountant would be if it was not you, spoken with Commissioner Felder regarding the transactions on her cards?
I can't be sure because when some of this happened, I was not here.
Have you?
I have not. I've only spoken to her, the group. I don't speak to like individuals. I try to take it in the meetings, and I spoke on just some things I was concerned about, what not giving your receipts, turning in your paperwork to Ms. Robin incomplete, and she got to call you for receipts and all that stuff. So I did not directly tell her, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, or that's whatever. I did not do that.
Are you aware if anybody has said anything since? I mean, is no one aware of this resolution? I think the resolution was.
Mhm.
Was it the R18-72?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I was trying to look at the date of it. I won't take up that time. I was trying to see, I hit my button and of course I'd lost my place here.
Yeah.
Um,
It's October 2018.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I had any. Okay, would it be possible to just help me? Would it be possible if you could actually send me a copy of what that charter section says
Yes.
specifically that you reference here?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask one more question, just, or I can't answer the question? Can I revisit one more question that you asked? I don't think I was clear when I said something. So, because first of all, I appreciate the fact that we're doing this. Because like I said, it did enlighten me on some stuff that I did not know on processes. It also let me know about certain portions of my staff. You know, because the bigger problem, I'm not gonna say they didn't let me know, they probably were scared to let me know. I just say that out front, you know, for a lot of reasons. So that's something I know now I got to figure out, because they are scared to tell me certain things. Because they have, people have been fired for saying stuff. So I got, it's not about Commissioner Felder or anybody else. It's just how we set up here at the city of Waycross, and the fear of, doing the right thing. I'm not sure. So after all this is done, whatever the recommendation is, we're going to execute. Because like I said, if anything, it's on me. I mean, I dropped the ball. If the commissioner said she didn't know, she should have knew,
Please understand, I'm not.
No, I'm just saying.
finger.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I mean, somebody got to get it. So I own that. But like I say, the bigger problem for me right now, they probably did see it. I'm pretty sure they did. And they just were afraid to tell me for whatever reason. And I got to go back and fix that. And I'm going to go back and fix that. Like I say, not about Commissioner Felder. Since I've been here, and those of you who've come to the meetings, we've mentioned this a few times about updating our charter, updating our ordinances, updating some of our resolutions. We just never can get to it because we everywhere else doing other stuff. So there was some gaps in this whole process. Like I say, no fault to the staff. They just doing their job every day. And they got a lot going on. I'm supposed to be the one to catch all this. And I did not, and when I did stuff I did catch, maybe it was not expressed in the right way for everybody to understand that they can't do certain things. So I just want to say that.
I guess maybe I suggest, just from my past experiences, anything dealing with money and documentation always needs to be in writing.
Yes.
If you have a conversation about it, it needs to be followed up in writing to make sure
Yes.
that people do understand.
Correct.
Just my thought.
I have another question
Yes.
for you. Who prepares the finance report that's given to the commission?
The finance department.
Okay.
Yeah, we've I know some feedback. We made 2 revisions since the budget hearings, and still ain't got any real feedback on how they want that to look. So we just kind of been keeping with the last financial report that we would give them, and it covers all of our accounts, all of our expenditures, and they get that every meeting before the meeting. So Friday they get it, and didn't really have any issues with it until the budget started. And like I'm still not fully understanding the issues with it, but we're trying to adjust as best we can for the clarity that they seek.
Since I have it here, I attempted to access that report on your new app
Mm.
and couldn't get to it. I can only get to the last one. Is there anywhere else I can find that?
The financial report.
The monthly report that you do.
Yeah,
I know I've watched the meetings.
Yeah, we'll make sure they get a financial report. You'll make sure you get one email today.
I was just wondering, I mean, the
Mm.
app was there, and so
Oh.
when I went on, I got to the last one, and I
Okay.
couldn't go back, because you do it every meeting,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's
Yes.
not there, you don't,
I got to see. I got to look at the app. Okay. It might be, not to be funny, but might be on what kind of phone you got, to be honest with you. Just,
it probably could be, it really could be,
okay.
and it could be a lot of me.
No, just older
Okay.
phone. We found out older phones have a harder time with the app. So, yeah.
Do any of you have?
Martin Gray.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Rayford?
We're going to find.
The monthly audits and the annual audits, do they ever list any discrepancies that would be consistent with what we're dealing with today?
No, the yearly audit, that's more about being in compliance with state and federal laws. Or sometimes I would use an example, the ARPA. Last year we didn't put that in the audit because it wasn't an actual account, and then this year we had to put it in there. That's because the auditors told us you have to account for that money. The monthly, we are, and what I look for too when I do my checks, I'm just trying to make sure that first of all people get paid on time. Our contractors that we have, that's was the issue when I got here. Sometimes, whatever reason, they don't get their checks, and then just to look and see if anything looks, questionable. Every pay period, like this week is a pay period, so everything's coming through right now. So that's my time to kind of look at certain things, and I'm really looking at stuff that I might not be aware of, and this is more of our contracted, like engineer services, people like that. I'm looking at what they've turned in, because sometimes they build us incorrectly, so I'm really trying to get that, because that's the big money loss. If we go ahead and push that through and pay for that, we can't get that back. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What's the budget for the commissioners, the travel budget for the commissioners? The year,
Yeah, it's 5,000.
it's 5,000, okay.
Mr. Rayford, I know being pulled into something like this is, especially in your position, is probably the last thing you really want at this time.
Yeah.
But seeing and hearing about the specifics of this case as they're going along, do you think it's case specific, or do you think it's a bigger problem?
I think in broader context, and I'm not saying that I ain't said before, open forums, we have a charter.
Mhm.
We wasn't doing a great job following that charter. So a lot of people do stuff not in line with the charter. And as I'm trying to bring us back to the charter, doing those discussions, we do find things. And if you ask me that question, we found a lot of things with some of our ordinances that are not applicable, outdated, wrong, wasteful in spending taxpayers' dollars. And been here a year and a half, and I have been unable to fix that. So that is the bigger problem, because it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And if it's a lack of understanding and clarity, we got a huge charter, and maybe that's part of the problem. We got the largest charter in the Southeast, Southeast Georgia in District 11, and it's difficult to find all that out for anybody, any commissioner, to kind of understand all that stuff. Because a lot of stuff is, you've been to the meetings we had for the code, some of the stuff is contradicting. So this is a good thing, because like I said, some stuff would have never been brought to my attention. Like I say, the morale concerns with my finance department, they smile at me every day, and then they crying inside, and I feel bad that I walking around thinking everything was good. But now, like I say, we'll definitely address this, and it won't happen again.
Okay.
It won't happen again.
Yep, because there's I try to look at the broader aspect of just things in general when I come across situations like this. It's not the first time I've been through a rodeo like that. But I think one of the biggest things that I look for is I start thinking about the parents that wake up first thing in the morning and they're stressed out, you know, how they're going to feed their kids at night. And, you know, and then we got kind of a little bit higher than we would like poverty level in this area. Well,
Yes.
when people like that, the citizens of our community, hear about stuff like this, Mr. Rayford, what do we tell them? Like literally, what do we tell them?
So we try our best to be transparent. I've said that from day one.
And we're not looking for perfection.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so you know, mistakes are going to be made, but we've
Yeah.
got to come to a point where when a mistake's made, we're able to fix it immediately.
Well,
You know, because we got to start giving the citizens of you know, this community the impression that, you know, that's why I'm always harping on the legitimacy of this board,
Mm.
because right now that's all that the citizens have.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, say next year, what if the ethics board isn't here?
Mhm.
How do we convince people that, you know, ethics board or not, we know that the right thing's being done?
So the ethics board is in the charter, and that we definitely will stay in January. We'll do nominations again and make sure we stay with that. But to the citizens, like I say, I feel like we've been transparent. You know, we try to every meeting I talk about training, traveling, where the commission's going when they're traveling. When we come back, we try to give information about what happened. I know some of the citizens were really wanting information about what was done at the training. A lot of that training, I'll say this, maybe some of it could be done online, but a lot of it is talking to somebody else who has more experience. You know, and I know this last year, me being the, you know, one of the younger city managers, it was great for me to go because like some stuff I just didn't know, you know, and I was equivalent everything to the Army, certain similar to job I had, but not the same.
Mhm.
But I just, to the citizens, I hope they're watching this right now because this is the, you know, part of how things get fixed. This is how it works. This is non, you know, partisan bias, anything like that. You know, I try to stay away from. That's why I probably should have came to some of these meetings, but I wanted to make sure I didn't just sit in the room, make anybody think anything. So to the citizens, I just feel like this opportunity to everything that y'all found that we did incorrect or improper or could be done better, y'all notated. We will definitely put it into our records. You know, once it goes before the commission for your final recommendations, I'm pretty sure they will follow those recommendations because it does not work if we don't do it like that. And to the best of their ability, I mean, as far in legality. So I just hope they can see that we, you know, we being transparent. That's all I can say. I mean, we being transparent. And like I said, definitely should have caught a few of these things. I definitely made some assumptions. Getting in here that everybody understood, you know, the credit card use. And I was wrong about that. And I, you know, sit on record. I got a great finance department. They have been overwhelmed since I've been here for a lot of reasons. And, you know, this is just another way that I need to, you know, and my finance director, we need to go ahead and figure out how to make their life a little bit easier so they don't miss certain things. Because they got a lot going on every every pay period. Try to take care of the workforce and get our bills paid and take care of the city. So probably what they want to hear right now, I don't know. I'm just, like I said, we're trying good. I hate how this kind of came up. But I do think it's going to allow us to fix some things behind the scenes that need to fix.
Okay, can you give the citizens of Waycross the assurance that once the once this case closes out, you know, of course, everybody's going to be interested because the recommendations are going to come down, discrepancies are going to be noted. But can you give the citizens of Waycross the assurance that the attention that this matter deserves? You know, like if you have a natural disaster, everybody unites initially, which is awesome. But as time goes by, the interest seems to fade away. Can you guarantee the citizens of Waycross that this will not fade away over time? This will be something that's implemented and strictly adhered to as time goes by?
Okay. So 2 questions. So first, this will always be there because it's actually citizen led. So a citizen, you know, brought the complaint forward, and then, you know, you all are citizens and y'all doing the board. So this will always be here for everybody else. I can't guarantee. I don't want to sit and guarantee once the recommendation come down, I need to pull that back. I mean, it might be some stuff we can't do. You know, I don't know what the plan is, you know, for your recommendations. I will say that it will be fully thought over, you know, because I mean, we all recognize that you know, whatever decisions made here on this board, that transparency is going to be needed for those watching. So I will guarantee that, you know, we will present that to the commission. Whatever recommendation y'all made, I will try, you know, if they're willing to the commission, I will try to implement. I know some of these things we need to change some stuff in the regulation or how it's worded, and we need to clearly define who actually does what, you know. So I can promise you that part of it, you know, and I will promise that, you know, like I said, this is citizen led. If citizens come to the meetings, this is how it works. If I had not come to the meetings, this probably never got any attention either. So that's all I can say for right now.
Well, I think for the citizens, it's kind of a catch-22 because they see stuff like this, and I think it makes them further lose the interest in the overall operations of things because typically what happens?
Yeah.
You know, stuff gets brought forth, and as time goes on, it's either disposed of somehow. So, you know, that's all part of this. But I think if the people see the commitment from the city,
Yes.
that's actually going to put more interest in because they're going to see, hey, they're doing the right thing. You know. So.
Yeah. And I don't want to be dead horse, but like I said, I know what you're referring to. All those things that happened in the past for the city. I can't speak.
Well,
on
not
that.
just in Waycross, just everywhere.
I got
You
you.
know, attention's there, it gets the attention, and 3 months later, you don't hear about it. Nobody knows the results of anything, and we're basically back to square one.
I think legally we have to follow up whatever y'all recommendations are in the meeting. You can jump in, you want to. Legally, we got to follow what y'all recommendations, and then we got to take a vote on that stuff. So that's gonna happen. It's not gonna be y'all make recommendations and then we just all disappear. You know, that's gonna happen. And I'm telling you, depending what recommendations y'all, I'm gonna make some myself right now because I know we got some stuff we got to put in here. So I'm gonna do that already. But you know, depending what y'all recommend, because we want the citizens, the commission, the mayor, and myself, and the whole city to not have to think we doing something unethical. I mean, that's the whole point of this. And also, we want everything to be, like you said, clearly written. And I recognize it's confusing a little bit. You know, who does what, and like I said, we're gonna fix that.
Thank you,
I don't have any more questions. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Bussey.
Just interested in knowing whether or not the commissioners have a monthly budget meeting where they all have to give an account of their expenditures for that particular month. And if not, could one be implemented?
So they don't have a monthly meeting. They don't have one. And when we do our monthly meetings that we do, and they get that financial report,
Right.
everyone can see the expenses. But that might be something. So you're saying go over all the finances or just their individual account, like traveling and training or going over everything?
Just pretty much, you know, that travel, whatever they incur
Oh, okay.
for that particular month, more or less.
I got you.
I used to work for an organization, and that was something that we had to present. Each particular division of our company would have to go over that with the CEO, more or less. And it can be taxing, but it can be helpful as well.
Only thing about that, like some of my questions, like I'm taking it not a CEO. I mean, that's the only thing.
I know that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying.
No, I get you,
You know.
but that's the only.
Right.
I couldn't make the commission do anything.
Right.
But if that's something you saying citizens want to see, then the citizens can just come to the meetings and they can recommend that. That's how all this works too. I'll have to sit and think about the stress on the finance department, like, you know, doing that because they will have part of that as well. I mean, it shouldn't be a bigger deal because we have already had reports already made. If it's just talking about it, even if we just maybe I need to clarify it when I talk about training and traveling because I don't really say much doing that. If we're going and we coming. But if we need to put in there, we going to GMA Summit, Savannah. We could do that. That's not hard because we had the information, and we could do that when we travel, we could do that. You know, so it's not hard. No, it's not hard. We could do that.
Well, why don't we just make the solution simple, sir? If you don't turn in a receipt, we're going to dock your paycheck.
Yeah. So I'm not CEO.
That'll fix the problem within
Yeah.
a couple of months.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ray.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Greg Smith.
Mr. Smith, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And I'm going to keep you very briefly because I realize you have to leave. You provide a finance report prior to each commission meeting, correct?
That's correct.
And in those reports, do you highlight or notate whenever a commissioner is, or the mayor is over their expenditures or anything like that? Do you notate it in any way?
I don't bring attention to it, but we have reports with budgets and anybody that reads it can tell if they are over budget, and I don't recall them being over budget since I've been here.
Okay. And so if an individual commissioner goes over the budget, what happens? Is there a process for that?
I'm not aware of that happening.
Okay. So we've not had anyone go over budget, their travel budget?
Right.
Okay. All right. And one other thing, if a commissioner or the mayor or whatever, if they have expenditures and they complete a travel voucher, but they don't have receipts, what's the protocol for that?
I think they always have receipts.
Okay, because we have some travel vouchers
Okay.
and we don't have receipts that accompany them.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that where that could happen.
Okay, so is there anything in place to handle that type of situation?
Well, we can ask for it, and we have credit card receipts, showing that it was everything, they use credit cards, and we have credit card bills, and it shows where they, use the credit card and, from the statements.
Okay, but my concern is that if you get a credit card statement and you don't have the itemized receipt, even though you have a total, we don't really know what the credit card paid for.
Right.
And there are certain things that are not allowable. Is that correct?
Right. Like alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Okay, so there's nothing in place to handle those types of situations as far as not having a receipt.
I don't think so.
Okay. Anybody?
Yes, please. How you doing, sir?
Good.
First off, I'd like to condolences for your loss.
Thank you.
Sir, I've got a quick thing, and I need to kind of clear up some things. I know there's been a lot of discussion recently about a entry on Commissioner Felder's credit card for the red phone booth in Atlanta, Georgia. And the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is I think that the original testimony that was not only submitted in the actual complaint, but also touched on a little bit in the verbal testimony that the complainant gave, that kind of painted a picture of a place that I don't think needed to be painted. And I'm talking about, it's an adult entertainment, or it's what is it? A secret code was needed to gain entry into an adult club in Atlanta, Georgia, known for adult entertainment meetups. And then some moral decisions were questioned. And, it was also stated that he saw videos on Facebook that were extremely inappropriate. Now, I had posted on some of my military Facebook pages just a broad question on what people just with those descriptions would think that this establishment was. Sex club, swingers club, stuff in that arena. And when you plant an optic like that in testimony, it steers the attention away from this, steers the attention away from this, steers the attention away from this. And I also went ahead and took the liberty just to dispel the rumors, because, when we're starting to put things on somebody's character, somebody's, questioning morals, the red phone booth, I've got an information packet here. It is not any of that like was described in sworn testimony. It's actually a respectable business. They've got, I think, 4 or 5 locations spread out through, different states. It's based on, themed off of the Prohibition era. That's why you require a secret code to get in, because back then, if you went to a bar, you needed a code to get in. So the optics of what was linked to one commissioner specific took this case that way. When you're trying to figure out stuff like this, I like to go straight. Oh, what was the total charge on that? Does anybody have the actual number? What wasn't it like right at $60?
I'm not sure. I don't have it.
It was right at $60. But being a respectable business, I'm one of the old school guys, real protective of my wife. When my wife did the research for me and got all this information, when she came back to me, she said, I'd like to go. I thought for a minute, I'm going to have some marriage problems, but it's a speakeasy. So if the charge on a credit card was $60 and you forget this, I'm trying to pick my words carefully here, but when you take the focus off the actual facts of a case and you take the case down this way because, hey, sexual scandal sells. The farthest thing from that. So to clear the air, if anybody wants to take a look at this, there's multiple pages. It's got pictures of the interior of the place. If you'd like to take a look at it, I'm going to leave it here. I got another copy at home. If a charge was placed on a city credit card for $60 in Atlanta at a respectable business, would that have fallen within the realm of her daily per diem limit?
I would, yeah, I would say it could. But
Okay.
while we're talking about that, I don't do a search to see what kind of.
But this
Place
is just
there,
one of
yeah.
those things that it's just continuously popped up. And, we talk about per diem rates, but like I said, when we started the adult entertainment meetups and secret code and moral decisions, I question the testimony.
Yeah.
As long as it falls under the realm of what the daily per diem rate is, I think we should totally, completely wipe the entire subject of the red phone booth off, because it would be no different than if the commissioner went to Applebee's or any place like that.
Speaking of the per diem, what's the daily per diem for the commission and city employees?
We use what the federal government uses.
Mhm.
And to let you know what I do, I really don't look at the per diem.
Mhm.
I look at the budget is what I do. The
Okay.
police officers, when they go out of town,
Mhm.
they want money before they leave, and they get paid the per diem amount there. But
Mhm.
the commissioners and myself, we use the city credit card when we go out of town and I just, when I go, I make sure I'm within the budget, and I look to see if the commissioners are in the budget too.
Okay, I have another question. When using the city's credit card, who, or how can I say this? I'll use the city manager. If he goes on a trip and he uses the credit card, whose meals is he allowed to pay for?
His own,
Or
or other commissioners or commissioners or myself, that sort of thing.
can
Employees.
all right, and if you have a spouse, you can pay for the spouse. Is that correct?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not so no meals for spouses, children, or any of that with the credit card.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you. Any questions?
He needs to
I just have one question.
he just-
Excuse me.
somebody passed
So
away.
it is not a specific question. You said in your statement that you had not had any concerns about any credit card usage, and you looking as the finance director.
Right. I'm an old auditor, you could say, and I'm looking at what the auditors are going to look at when they come to audit the city every year, and I want to make sure we've got backup for any expenses, including travel. That if they pick, a certain invoice, they say, I want to see this invoice, that we can supply it for.
That I have another question based on that. So if a commissioner goes on a trip and they're by themselves and if they turn in a receipt, and it shows that they paid for a meal for 4 individuals, you guys don't look at that?
I would look at that.
Because we have several receipts for more than one meal on various trips. So you all, that was never a red flag?
I didn't
Was that
see it. I didn't see that. I'm not saying it doesn't
Okay.
exist. I'm just saying I didn't see it. I
Okay,
would have.
because we have many receipts like
Okay.
that where there were more than one meal paid for. We have a Starbucks receipt, for instance, for like $30. More than one person was paid for as far as their purchase or whatever. We have a meal receipt for $255. We have credit card receipts for restaurants for over $100. That's more than one person eating. But you said that you're not allowed to pay for another person outside of another commissioner.
Right. Or business related.
Right. So
Right.
that's where I'm
Right.
kind of
Right. And-
confused because we have multiple. When I say multiple receipts like that.
Yeah. Can I comment on that?
Mm-hmm.
As the city manager said, there's definitely room. These are my words now. There's definitely room for improvement there. And I've been here 2 years, and that I've been concentrating on lately, or when I first got here, getting the audit done, because there were some issues with audit not being done on time, and with the city managers and my department's help, we're there. And so, there are definitely some room for improvement. And since I have been here, we are better with the travel forms, but we're still not where we need to be.
Okay.
And we need to be uniform, and we talked about accountability and review. If everybody uses the same form, it's so much easier to review and keep going. That's all I have for that.
Thank you so much for your testimony.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
Because maybe I wasn't clear when I asked the question. So in our handbook, we have our charter, we have a handbook, we have resolutions, and then we have ordinances. We have 4 different documents
Mhm.
that kind of cover the mess of traveling and training.
Mhm.
And the handbook specifically states you can't pay for food for a family member. You can pay for lodging because, of course, your spouse gonna sleep in there with you, and of course they're gonna drive, in the same
Mhm.
vehicle with you. But we can't pay for other meals. That's in there too. Or if the meals are included in the training, you can't pay for that either.
Okay.
So when I was saying earlier, you're supposed to catch these things. That goes back to my statement that Red looks at the total, like at the end of the day, if they got $1,000 for the training and it's $800, okay, that's good. But as far as the individual seat, that's a little bit lower. And like I said, I'm gonna own that because there's a little bit of fear of telling us stuff, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. There shouldn't be no fear there. And we got some stuff a little bit earlier, I go again, maybe people don't know, what I'm saying? Then we could explain stuff because it is the multiple meals that's clearly in all 4 documents.
So it's in all 4 documents?
Yeah, so that part should be known. And like I said, I'm gonna own that. Looking back, that should have been brought up the chain a little bit,
Okay.
and it wasn't. So, but I own that part right there because it's got to be an environment where they ain't scared to say stuff, and they right now they scared to say stuff. But that's on me and the finance director to kind of figure out as far as that communication. And then for the per diem for Atlanta, it's $75 a day, but $23 a meal. So there's a certain amount of meals you can only get. You can't spend like $60 on one meal. It's still supposed to be tracked that way. But once again, that's why I pulled this, more on the sheet, because I guess people didn't understand that. And they would just on spend $70 for this meal and maybe not the other 2 meals, but you still went over at that point already. But once again, maybe that wasn't clearly understood. That's why we did the training and we specifically stuck on the voucher so everybody could understand that part. I just want to make sure that's clear with everybody.
So you're saying that you have a per diem,
Mhm.
you're adding, I assume, as your check,
Mhm.
you're adding your meals.
Mhm.
I think that was one of the questions, another
Yes.
question that I had to ask,
Yeah.
that never did seem to get
Yeah.
anywhere. Because on the bottom of the sheet, it gives you, gotta get the glasses
Yes,
again.
ma'am.
On the bottom of that sheet, it gives you a grand total of all these expenditures,
Yeah.
A, B, C, and D.
Yes.
Then it gives you a line that says less purchases, order prepaid expenses.
Yes.
Then it says less credit card charges.
Mhm.
Then it gives you another, next line is less cash advance if you paid to the employee.
Mhm.
And then it says less personal amount, non-reimbursable, and
Mhm.
enter as a negative amount here.
Mhm.
So you, for what, and then the next line says do employee. So is that just there? Is it ever used? I mean, if let's use me. If my per diem, see, if I'm over my per diem,
Mhm.
and you're adding these figures down here, but nobody, you got all these things listed, nobody's checking that to see if anything goes in those sections? Because
Yeah.
there is a specific place
It's
here that
being
said if I
checked.
went over or
Yeah.
it wasn't reimbursable,
Mm.
that it would be put there and I would be the one would be required to pay it if it was my expense voucher.
Yeah. So it's in there, and I would say probably everybody below myself stays in line with that. With everybody above me, not so much. So that's the part. Like I said, we got to figure out the accountability between myself and the commissioners. Where's that accountability at? And who says what? That's what I'm trying to articulate. So, I think you're talking about the ledger as far as the actual finance, the actual account. I'm talking about the voucher. It's a little different. The vouchers.
That's what I'm looking at, the voucher.
Okay.
On the
Okay.
back of the voucher,
Yes.
did you see on the back of the
Well,
voucher?
I ain't
those
bringing it
last
back.
statements
Yes.
before the signature line,
Hmm.
where they add all of that up
Mhm.
and then deduct it?
Mhm.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm looking at.
Yeah. It's supposed to be followed. At the end of the day,
Pardon me?
it's supposed to be followed at the end of the day. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You said there are 4 documents that
Mhm.
address training, and I said, you said the handbook,
Mhm.
the charter,
Mhm.
and what was the other one?
Resolutions, and then specific ordinances, because some training is different for the fire department and the police department. So you got to have ordinance for that. Mhm.
Specific
Mhm.
ordinance. Okay. And we could get a copy of the handbook.
Yes.
I know, okay.
Okay. Just want to clarify. Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Shanita Bennett.
Commissioner Bennett, I'm going to give you the oath. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for appearing before us, Commissioner Bennett. I have a couple of questions for you. One is, you attended the ethics training at the same time as Commissioner Felder, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in that training, did they go over the do's and don'ts of the credit card usage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you understand what you were supposed to spend or use the credit card for as far as meals and who you were allowed to pay for, those types of things?
Yes.
Okay. On, what's the date? January 27th, ESG, you all were at a training and ESG paid for meals for you guys. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know about what time that was?
It had to be after 7:45, maybe 8 o'clock, somewhere along up in there.
Okay. And so were you all told before that time, prior to the actual meal, that they were going to pay for you guys this meal?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know if Commissioner Felder attended that meal, that dinner?
Yes, she did. Yes.
Okay. Do any of you have any questions for her?
Oh, one of the open records requests I submitted was for the receipts from ESG, so there's really no way to verify that, so I really don't. But Commissioner Bennett, the night in question, I'm entrusting that my fellow board members pursue this stuff because I'm solely focused on the optics that were presented. The optics that caused the distraction, I might add. On the night in question, like I said, the red phone booth, the information package for it right there, respectable place. In fact, I'm going to go to it one day. Were you also present at the red phone booth that night when Commissioner Fellow was per January of 23, I believe?
No, sir.
January 24?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Commissioner Bennett, I have another question for you. As far as you are aware, when ESG paid for the meal, I just want to clarify, when they treated you guys to dinner, Commissioner Felder was there, and it was sometime around dinner time, we'll say.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. All right. That's all I have.
May I add to to you all? I don't know nothing about the telephone booth.
Ma'am, it's-
Even at this point, I honestly don't know. And I just want to clear that up. No, I was never there.
Oh, even if you were, ma'am, it's not a bad place. It's a restaurant. It's just I'm hearing very conflicting stories now. I think I'm going to have to request the presence of more individuals for our next hearing. I'll give you a list because I'm hearing conflicting stories on that.
Conflicting stories is our whereabouts.
Well, I'm just getting information from other people that there was actually other members of the city leadership present that day, which is no big deal.
Well, to me it is, because if I was there, I would say I was there.
Okay.
I have no reason to lie about it. If
Didn't
I was
say you were,
there,
ma'am.
I would say I was there.
I
I was
I'm-
not there.
I didn't say you were lying. I just said I need a little bit of clarification. That's
Okay.
all. Imagine
fine.
yourself in my position. You probably want
I
to do the same thing.
understand.
You got to get to the bottom of it
I
somehow.
understand.
Sometimes we got to ask them questions. I don't have anything else.
I
Anybody
have a
else?
question.
Go ahead.
This dinner that you're talking about, that you attended, and who,
ESG.
and they, tell me who ESG is.
ESG is one of our sponsors. They actually works with the water plan and everything. And every year, ESG lets us know that they're gonna provide us with a dinner at whatever location they want.
And it's required that you attend?
I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I mean, they are giving us a dinner.
But my question was, is it required?
And
that you-
if you don't have to, you
Okay.
don't, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but
Okay.
it's up to you.
Any other questions?
I may have some other
That's
questions.
fine.
For some reason, I thought I understood from the email that she was going to appear on the 7th. And so that's why I don't have. any
Alvin
questions.
Nelson is appearing on the 7th.
Right.
She's appearing today.
Like I said earlier, I
Yeah.
got caught up in the email.
You're fine. You're fine.
So I may have some other questions, and if so, I'll let you know.
Okay, that's good. All right, any other questions for her?
Not for Commissioner Bennett. no.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask, is there any more?
No.
Can I ask for clarification on Mr. Nelson's going to be at the next meeting, so I can, I just need some clarification on the intent.
Commissioner Alvin Nelson is going to be at the next meeting.
Not,
Mr. Clay Nelson is going to be at the hearing.
okay, he's going to be at the hearing?
Yes.
I just need to take, like I said, get some clarification on the intent of his testimony.
Okay.
Especially the video that he's seen on social media from the red phone booth that was supposedly really bad. I can't find any. I've been Googling, my wife's been Googling. I cannot find any appropriate videos on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook that would suggest that the red phone booth was a bad location. So I need to know what the intent was on that part of the testimony. Was it willful? Was it trying to distract from other things that might be happening at the time? I think it's important decisions that the ethic board need to come to so we can make a sound recommendation when it gets to that time. But the optics ruin cases and they ruin lives. For what? Literally, what's the optics for? Can't we just stick solely to the facts of the case? So I need to know what the intent of the testimony was,
Well,
please.
he will appear at the hearing.
Why?
That's
That's just in case we had to pre-submit questions like we had to this last week.
He's going to appear at the hearing. He will be here. He's not able to be here before that time. So I make a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.